From the board, but
thank you.
Maureen Rooney, and I see she's going to address the Heritage Grant. You want to say where you're from, Maureen?
As of yesterday, I'm just a private citizen. I live in the Coronado Historic District in downtown Phoenix. Last Friday, I was on contract with the City of Glendale to administer a Heritage Grant Fund to the Catlin Court Historic District. And that would have improved 10 properties that, I don't know what to tell you. I'm just feeling like life is unfair. And those 10 property owners had notices, 2 of them had notices to proceed. Every one of them had an easement recorded against their property for this grant fund that they will not get, apparently. And so I'm asking you for a very small thing. You have really big problems to deal with, and I appreciate that you're all doing that. My very small request is, if you've given a heritage grant, it's gotten a notice to proceed, it's got an executed contract, let it be, and we'll figure out how to deal with the future in the future. Bad times, everybody knows it. And I'm okay with not having my contract to administer the grant, but there are 2 property owners who were ready to roll on their work, and they're not so okay with it. So I ask you to look at that very carefully, and I appreciate Mr. Landry's comments because I agree with him 100%.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Jerry Van Gass. How do I pronounce that last name? I'm sorry.
Van Gass.
Van Gass, okay.
Hi, Jerry Van Gass. I guess you could say I'm representing, as Sandy alluded to, the grassroots. And, you know, all these places came about from people like this, passionate and vision, and some vision. And you can't put a price on that. You can't put a price on any of these properties. And, you know, I'm going from this meeting, same things happen. This isn't unique to the state. You go down to city council after this. The first thing they hammered was parks. Because the parks, the mountains, these places, the state parks, federal lands, they can't speak. So it's the people with the vision and the passion that shouldn't stop once it's designated. That vision and passion has to continue to sustain these places. And, you know, at one time, Sandy knows this, these processes, the budgets weren't so politicized. I worked in the late 70s, still am, but I'm through the 80s with 2 totally polar ends of the political spectrum, Barry Goldwater and Mo Udall. But their passion and vision was for this state, and they worked together to see that it was done. And I don't see that anymore. But what I do still see out there, in fact, I'm still in touch, he's 89 now, Mo's brother, Stuart, who's in Santa Fe. He left. He was the most prolific Secretary of Interior we've ever had in this country. He left Phoenix and Arizona, which he loves. He was born and raised here, because nobody would consult him on any of these types of issues. And we've got these resources all around the state. People that are passionate about it, that we're not even reaching out to. And that's the resource we should be tapping into. The numbers are meaningless right now. We need to go out and find these people. And believe me, they'll come out of the woodworks. So I'll save the rest for the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jerry. The last speaker is Bonnie Variola. Did I pronounce that right, Bonnie?
Yes.
And you're from the Florence Preservation Foundation. So you want to talk about the Heritage Fund.
Yes, thank you. As he said, I'm Bonnie Variola with the Florence Preservation Foundation, And our foundation sponsors Historic Preservation Heritage Fund grant applications. These projects benefit the community and they also help the economy. And with the town of Florence, after sitting vacant for 32 years, we have just completed the rehab of a hotel building. We had the ribbon cutting last Friday night. And this has been an inspiration to the people of the town. In fact, we had about 750 people turn out Friday night for the ribbon cutting for that. Now, so I was all excited about that until I went to a meeting Saturday morning and I learned that McFarland State Park, which is just across the street from this hotel building, is going to be closed. Unfortunately, McFarland, as Ken Travis said, the walls are falling down. And State Parks had funding to rehab the building, and those monies were taken away too, so that's no longer going to happen. I concur with Elizabeth Stewart's comments, and to look at something other than just the numbers, I noticed that on the sheet McFarland is the highest cost per visitor, but it's just a suggestion, like Elizabeth said, look at things other than just that final bottom line. For example, with McFarland, just go back to 1.5 employees instead of the current 3.5 employees, and stay open just 5 days a week instead of 7 days a week. And if the other parks that were going to be closed if there was something like this that could happen to them, I happen to be familiar with McFarland, so I know about it, but use some other method in order to keep those parks open and just cut the costs down. I would just like to add that I do have 3 additional signed contracts for projects in Florence, and they are in dire need of rehab, although like the other lady, a couple of them can probably, I am not at a stage in the process that it would be drastic right now to wait. But my question is, do you think that what happens to these, if the contracts that are already signed, would we ever get it back? I know that's probably a question that nobody knows, but we need to tell our town something, and the people who own these buildings that we're representing. Will we ever get the money back, or what, is it gone forever? So that's, if anybody has an answer to that question, I'll stop. Nobody has an answer, we don't know. Thank you.
Thank you, Bonnie. Are there any questions?